What's up everyone, Nukin here, and I'm back with another Star Wars Galaxy Heroes video, and today we are launching a new series of roster reviews. Yes, roster reviews. So these are going to be videos of me reviewing the rosters of my patrons and some other special individuals that win contests in my community, the Republic, and other things maybe on this channel. But for now, just my patrons. And if you haven't supported me yet on Patreon, the link will be the very first link in the video description, so be sure to check that out. So if you've known me for a while, I've sort of talked about doing these a lot in the past, and I've done a bunch of these sort of off the cuff in Discord voice chat, but this will be the first time where I'm actually doing a video and the first time that I'm actually putting a lot of energy, love, and attention into these. So my goal here is to answer all the specific questions that my patron is asking me in the roster review here, and I hope that a decent chunk, if not a large chunk, and portion of this will be beneficial to anyone that's watching. I'm not sure if this is going to be public or unlisted, so I hope that if you're watching this that you benefit from it as well. So we're going to start this bad boy off with Dark Hard Yoda, one of my first, actually the first Grand Moff on my Patreon, I guess. I don't know how to pronounce it. Anyways, we're about to get started, so grab your favorite cold one and let's knock this out. So we're going to be talking about Squad Arena, Fleet Arena, TB Teams, and the Heroic Tank Raid. Now this is Dark Yoda's current arena team. He's running General Kenobi, Zeta Barriss, Darth Nihilus, Grand Admiral Thrawn, and a special guest Mother Talzin. Typically you have R2-D2 in that slot. This is the anti-counter meta team. So it's basically Kenobi being a complete wall and Darth Nihilus annihilating everyone, with the other heroes kind of supporting that strategy. So Dark Yoda wants to switch his arena team to utilize more Nightsisters. So there's a few teams that I have here that he can run, and here we go. So we got first one here, Talzin lead with the Zombie, Old Daka, Asajj Ventress, and the Acolyte. Alright, so this is the first sort of Nightsister lineup suggestion that I have for Dark Yoda, and it is a Mother Talzin lead with the Zeta on it, with Acolyte and Zombie. That's the combo right there with those three heroes, and Asajj Ventress and Old Daka for support. And the way that this team works is with the Zeta on Mother Talzin's leadership. Whenever any sort of Nightsister ally uses a basic attack, any sort of defeated Nightsisters come back to life for a split second to do their basic attack, and then if you kill one of your enemies, they stay alive, and Nightsister Acolyte will stay in stealth and continue to do her basic attacks, being protected by the stealth, and everyone's going to be focusing on a horde of Nightsister zombies that just keep coming back to life. And that's kind of how the team works. Now, people have begun to counter this team by bringing in heroes that can do AoE damage, area of effect damage. So to counter that, then you throw in your Hermit Yoda, who is another stealth character, which will keep Nightsister Acolyte alive through those AoE attacks. So there's that. And then if you don't want to go that route, or you don't have Hermit Yoda, you can try using a Zeta Barriss, which makes your team much more tankier and annoying. And the last lineup that I have here for a suggestion for Nightsisters is a Old Daka lead with Zeta Barriss, the Zombie, and Talzin plus Asajj. And this is a pretty durable lineup. Old Daka makes your Nightsisters super tanky, and then Zeta Barriss makes your characters extra tanky. And it's just a kind of annoying team to have to face, and you know, that's kind of the ultimate defense. Whenever you have to have a chance to make your team very annoying, people are going to ignore hitting you and hit the guy to the left or right or up and down, basically that you're sandwiched in. So they won't attack you, and you'll consistently hold your rank. So those are the suggestions for Nightsister teams in Arena. All right, and so the next topic is who to gear up once these Nightsisters are at Gear 12. So I'm on the dev account here that the Game Changers have, and I have the Nightsisters all Gear 12, and we're going to take a look at all of them, starting with Mother Talzin. Now, Mother Talzin, actually, all of these pieces are going to benefit her quite a bit. So we have 3 pieces here, and the priority that I would gear Mother Talzin is start off with the multi-tool. This gives her a bunch of good stats and health steal and potency and damage, just everything. That's the first thing that I would give her. Then I would give her a med pack, so she's a little bit more tankier. A lot of people are going to target your Mother Talzin first, so making her tanky is a priority. And then I would give her the wristband last. It's not the biggest priority, but it'll make her do more damage, so that's pretty good. She's one of your main damage dealers, actually. And now we have old Daka over here. I would give her the med pack. Now, the more health that she has, it'll synergize with some of her abilities. You can also consider Zetaing old Daka, which increases her max health already, and the more health that you have, the more percentage-wise you'll gain from that Zeta if you do that. Let's go on to Asajj. She also would benefit from the multi-tool, which is right over here. She would benefit from that, and I would actually do that first, and then I would also give her a bayonet. That also helps Asajj quite a bit. Don't worry about this. It would help her, but it's not a priority over those 2 items. And then moving on to the Acolyte, if you're going to give her some gear, I'd give her the bayonet. She's going to be stealth, doing a lot of damage, and this gives her armor penetration and a bunch of physical damage and crit chance, so she's going to hit a lot harder. And lastly, we have the zombie. Now, this is a Gear 12 zombie on the dev account. I actually think that it's better to not gear up the zombie. The more that she dies, the more turn meter you're going to get from Mother Talzin, because when you Zeta Mother Talzin's unique over here, whenever any unit, that includes your own, falls below half health, Talzin's going to gain 35% turn meter. So if the zombie is 2 geared up, then she won't fall below half health as much. And so you want to actually keep her pretty low gear. So we're talking, gear 9 and below. So that is what I would do for Nightsister gear at Gear 12. So moving into Fleet Arena, he wants advice on what to run. So the best ship in the game right now is the Chimera, which, that's the way it should be because it's the first legendary ship. And the Chimera synergizes quite well with Empire ships, so we're going to be using a lot of these here. There are several different variations of the lineup. For example, you don't have to start off with TIE Reaper in your main rotation. You can use it as a first or second reinforcement, but currently we're running TIE Reaper here with the TIE Advance, Biggs, the Imperial TIE Fighter, and Biston's U-Wing. Biston synergizes quite well with the Chimera, because of the synergy with advantage and the critical synergies that Thrawn's Chimera brings. Biggs is the best taunting, tanky ship in the game. And then typically Scimitar is the best first reinforcement for most lineups, so we're putting that there. And then Gauntlet Starfighter is another great Empire ship, so you definitely want to include that. And then we're finishing off with a bunch of attackers, so we have Slave 1, which potentially you could also put in the starting rotation and swap it with the TIE Reaper. And then Poe. Poe, if you even get to Poe, sometimes the battles end too quickly. By the time Poe comes out, all the ships don't have any protection anymore, and Poe annihilates any sort of ship that doesn't have protection. So this is a really solid lineup to try, and if it's not working for you, you can kind of make some minor adjustments, but most of these ships in some variation are going to be used in the Chimera lineup. And then Dark Yoda wanted some help with his TB teams, and I picked out 4 teams that he can use. And I'm really kind of just relying on Rebels, and that's because the first territory battle is on hAAT, and all Rebel characters are going to gain the Focus Defense unique, which means at the end of any Rebel's turn, it will gain protection up by 30% for 2 turns if they use a special ability and no enemies were defeated during that turn. And then hAAT heroes, so Commander Luke and hAAT Rebel Soldier and some of these other guys, they get the Last Stand unique on top of the Rebel Focus Defense unique. And the Last Stand was the one that where, you know, when they die, they get the red triangle, and then if you can kill an enemy really fast, then they can come back to life and stay alive. So, and that's called Last Stand, I think. So, you know, knowing that information, I built these teams. So the first one is Commander Luke Skywalker lead with Han Solo, hAAT Rebel Soldier, and Old Ben with Lando. So these are just typically good rebels to use. So Commander Luke Skywalker is the best rebel leader. Then Han Solo is the best attacker in the game, you know, so happens to be a rebel. hAAT Rebel Soldier is a hero in TB. He's also a decent tank. And then we have Old Ben, who's a great tank, and Lando, which is a decent attacker. Little AoE damage there. The next team is your Rogue One team. So everyone should be gearing up their Rogue One squad, and you use them in phase 6, but you can use them in some of the earlier phases. And so the best Rogue One squad for TB happens to be Jyn and the leader, and TerritoryB and Cassian +1. Now the 1 could be Scarif Rebel Pathfinder, K2SO, or Biston, and it really depends on who you think is, you know, your sort of play style. Do you want an attacker? Do you want an extra tank with K2SO? And then if you want another tank, what type of style of tank? K2SO has more debuffs and SRP has more turn meter gain. So whatever you like there, that's a good squad to run. Then the best squad in TB period is a resistance squad, and that's Finn in the leader position with BB-8, Poe, Resistance Trooper, and Resistance Pilot, and they're very good. They're one of the best, you know, teams to run period in Galactic War, and any sort of PvE content that expose turn meter generation is crazy, and BB-8 kind of made that team even better. So that's a great team. And then the last one is a Wedge lead with Biggs. Yep, Wigs. They're quite good still, and Wedge is a great leader. And then since you're not using R2-D2 with your CLS squad, you can put R2-D2 here, which is going to increase sort of the stats of these characters that need it more. So I think Wedge and Biggs could benefit from R2 more than CLS and Han Solo, so we put them here. And then as your tank, you can use Scarif Rebel Pathfinder, and then as a supporting hero, you can use Akbar. So this is, you know, 4 squads that you can use in TB. All these squads will get you 6 for 6. You don't necessarily need to use them. For example, if you don't want to use an extra rebel team, you can use a stun clone squad or something else, but typically you want to benefit the most from the uniques that you're getting and the bonuses, and you want to just use a bunch of rebel teams for that. So those are some TB teams for you. Alright, so we're starting to run a little bit long here, so I'm not going to go super in depth, but I did want to touch on the tank raid stuff. So this is the team Dark Yoda. It's being referred to as the big mix, and it's the super team where you do a huge chunk of damage by hitting the end of phase 2, soloing phase 3, and doing a huge chunk of damage in phase 4 if not soloing it. And it's an Akbar lead with CLS, Thrawn, BB-8, and Han Solo. So just get with me afterwards and I'll teach you how to mod this team and run it. So now we're going to wrap up the video. So this has been a roster review, my first one of a series, and I'll try to do one of these a week for all the patrons. And I hope that if you aren't Dark Yoda, so basically everyone else that you learned from this somehow in some way. And if you want your own roster review, then you should definitely go to the video description and click the first link and support me on Patreon. Anything that you can do to support me helps a lot and helps me to buy equipment and all sorts of stuff for the channel. So we'll probably do one of these once a week or so, and look forward to the next one. I'll see you later, guys. Cheers.
The nigga pull up your bandit. The killers understand it.